In a city that never slept, lived a young man named Ryan. On the surface, he had everything: steady job, friends, social life. Yet, if anyone looked deeper, they would see his tired eyes, heavy sighs, and the invisible chains of his restless mind. Ryan's thoughts never left him alone. In the morning, he carried the weight of yesterday's mistakes. At work, his head buzzed with the fear of tomorrow. At night, lying on his bed, his heart pounded with questions. What if I fail? What if I lose everything? Why can't I be like them? His mind was like a crowded street during a festival, shouting voices, flashing lights, chaos with no end. One evening, sitting on his apartment balcony, staring at the dull gray sky, Ryan whispered to himself, "If life continues like this, I will break. I need peace, or at least silence, even for a moment." One day, an old friend mentioned a monastery high in the mountains. They say a monk lives there. He used to be a great teacher in the city, but left everything to find peace. Now, he helps people who are lost. The idea stayed with Ryan. The next morning, without much thought, he packed a small bag and began his journey. The road was not easy. Dusty paths cut through forests, sharp stones hurt his feet, and nights under the cold sky tested his patience. Yet, as he walked higher, the city noise faded. For the first time, he could hear his own breath, the rustle of leaves, and the songs of distant birds. After 3 long days, he reached the monastery, a simple stone building touching the clouds. Around it, the air felt different, lighter, calmer, as if the mountains themselves were breathing in silence. Under a large pine tree, the monk sat, eyes closed, hands resting calmly on his knees. He looked ordinary, but there was something about him. His stillness carried more power than any noise Ryan had ever known. Ryan bowed and spoke with desperation. "Master, my mind is a battlefield. It never stops. I cannot breathe, cannot rest, cannot smile. Please, teach me how to silence it." The monk opened his eyes slowly and smiled, as though he had been waiting for Ryan. "Come with me," he said gently. Inside a small wooden room, the monk placed 2 cups on the table and began to pour tea. The cup filled, reached the brim, but he did not stop. The tea spilled, dripping down the table and onto the floor. "Master!" Ryan cried. "Stop! The cup is full. It cannot. Hold more." The monk looked into his eyes and said softly, "Exactly. This cup is like your mind, already full of worries, regrets, and fears. And just as no more tea can enter this cup, no peace can enter your mind, unless you empty it first." Ryan sat silently, staring at the spilled tea. He realized how his mind had been overflowing. But emptying it? How? "Master," he whispered, "I don't know how to let go. My thoughts are stronger than me." The monk poured another cup, this time stopping halfway. He pushed it gently toward Ryan. "You don't fight thoughts. You allow them to come, but you don't serve them tea. You let them pass. Begin small. Watch your breath. Walk slowly. Eat mindfully. Live here in this moment. When you live in now, the past and future lose their chains." Ryan lifted the half-filled cup, sipping slowly. For the first time, he tasted tea fully. The warmth, the fragrance, the softness on his tongue. He realized he had drunk tea all his life, but never like this. His eyes watered, not from sadness, but relief. Ryan stayed at the monastery for several days. Each morning, he swept the courtyard in silence. Each evening, he sat with his breath, watching thoughts come and go like passing clouds. At first, it was hard. His restless mind resisted, throwing old fears at him. But slowly, like a storm losing strength, his thoughts began to quiet. He noticed little things: the sound of wind brushing against the pine trees, the way the sun painted the sky with colors at dusk, the peace in simply drinking a cup of tea. Every moment was simple, but every moment was alive. When Ryan finally left the Ijite monastery, the city was the same: busy, noisy, chaotic. But he was not the same. When horns blared, he smiled and focused on his breath. When deadlines loomed, he worked one task at a time. When old fears whispered, he let them pass like clouds drifting across the sky. He was no longer a prisoner of his thoughts. He carried peace inside, a quiet flame that no storm could blow out.